You're listening to Not the Sermon with Eric and Jamie.
Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got a case of the deuce absconditis.
What?
It's just a funny word I saw. It's a theological term for the intentional hiddenness of God. Deuce or deus. Absconditis. Think absconded.
Absconded.
Yep.
Okay.
Someone
absconded with the Lord.
I'm mispronouncing the junk out of that word, by the way.
Yeah. Is that why your tummy was growling Sunday during church?
It was. It was a cute growl.
It was.
It was like a little
listener. For during the service Sunday, Eric and I usually are pretty close to each other on the front row, and it was a quiet moment. I don't know if it was announcements or whatever, and I heard a little emanating from the man Eric Robertson.
It happens when you have such an efficient digestive system like myself.
Yes.
It's always working. It never sleeps.
So was that gastric absconditis?
No, it wasn't absconding. It was coming to me.
Oh, okay.
No, I was just like a little I'm hungry growl. It was like second service, a little second service tummy growl.
Little tummy growl. Little tum was singing to worship.
I do have some exciting news, though.
Oh, you do? I'll be the judge of that.
In a matter of a few weeks and a few bank transactions, will be a millionaire.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how's this going to happen?
Well, I received...
And will you tithe?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that, It's a gift, right? No, I'm just kidding. Of course, I'm going to tithe on it, Jamie. I'm going to pay off the worship center only if you name it after me. It's going to be Eric Absconditis Robertson Worship Center.
Yeah, but I was going to call it the Not the Sermon Worship Center.
Not the Sermon Worship Center. But this thing is lots of sermons take place. But anyways, I get a mail. And this is a different
piece. A
letter.
Okay.
And it's sitting on my desk when I come in for work yesterday morning. And it's stamped by the Royal Mail.
Ooh.
So it has come from the UK.
Okay.
The king himself has signed off on my postage.
Okay.
And so I'm like, well, that's cool. That's different. I don't get letters from the Royal Mail. And so, but I open it up, and it's this long, and it's on a different size. It's not just on standard 8.5 by 11. It's one of the long, ledger letters.
Yeah, like 11 by 14.
Yeah, it was big. And
Legal.
I read it, and it's from Mr. Cheng Wu Zhao from the Royal Bank of the United Kingdom, informing me that my long-lost relative, Harry Robertson, has passed away in the past 18 months and has left me, or his next available kin, quite a substantial inheritance.
Oh, right. Wow.
His initial investment, according to Mr. Zhao, was $22 million, but I actually get $4 million of that.
Oh, that's a good percentage.
So all I have to do is reach out to Mr. Zhao's Gmail account.
Okay.
And I'm supposed to be keeping this private, so if you wouldn't mind, don't really tell anyone.
Did they not ask for discretion?
They asked for a lot of discretion. They didn't want any other potential family members trying to abscond with my money.
Yes.
And so, I'll be reaching out to Mr. Zhao in the following days to claim my inheritance.
Will you write him a letter and send via Royal Mail?
I think I will. I think I will just continue this as a letter correspondence.
Okay.
Until I receive my $4 million. So why $4 million of the 22? I don't know.
Hey, $4 million conservatively invested, man. That's a good $250K a year just in interest.
I've already planned it out. Did you ever thought about it? If I came across this amount, this is what I would do with it, right? And it's obviously give immediately. Get that money out of my hands to God immediately.
Well, recognize too that you're going to pay 40% in taxes.
Yeah. I always take that into account too. So that's always, I start with 10 and make it 5.
Right.
And so it's immediate tithe. I would go above and beyond tithe. I would do something like wildly generous immediately because I know myself.
Okay.
It had to be my first decision to give to the church, pay off the worship center, something like that.
Yeah.
And then obviously pay off all debts. And then invest. I would get into real estate investing.
Okay.
I would obviously build a nice house for myself. Just a modest $500K, $600K. And then I would make Sierra. I wouldn't quit my job. Now there would be a lot of things I would basically just tell you to over.
Okay.
But I would maintain my job. And whenever I got tired, I'd go home and say, do something about it.
But you would still want to stay employed here.
I'd still stay employed.
Okay.
I might fund myself. I'd fund myself my own salary.
Okay.
I'd be like, pay Eric $1 million per year for 1 year.
I'm trying
as my gift to the church.
As per my instructions. Would you send us a letter via Royal Mail to instruct us?
I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes. I would be more apt to respond kindly to it.
Yeah. Kindly and with a lot of discretion.
With discretion, deep discretion. If you did send it via Royal Mail. Now, this is obviously a scam, but.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it is, buddy.
Serious?
Yeah. Sorry.
I guess I'll cancel that order for a brand new Ferrari.
Oh, yeah? I would have. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do any of that. I would live. You would know. You want to know how you would know if I got money?
How?
I'd look poorer.
Yeah. That's right. You said that. We were talking about signs that we won the lottery.
Eric would look a lot poorer.
That's right. Yeah. So I find it so interesting that they have now stopped the email, or at least added to the email scam an actual letter. Do you think that's why? Do you think that's because everyone knows that email is like riddled with scam now?
Yeah, I think they're getting smart again. I think, and the fact that it came from the UK Royal Mail to the US, that it definitely made me open it. I didn't look at it and say, "Oh, that's definitely a scam." You know, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I never got anything from there, but now I know.
Well, and your past dealings with Mr. Zhao aside.
Yeah. Not a trustworthy character, that Mr. Zhao.
No, he's a dissident.
Yeah, he is.
He has shenanigans.
Yeah, he definitely has some Shanghai shenanigans going on.
Shanghai shenanigans. Was it Hong Kong? Isn't that what he said?
It was Hong Kong. Yeah, it said it was from Hong Kong. But then what's even funnier though is our executive pastor Cynthia walked into my office with the same letter for her dead uncle, Mr. Harry Bryan. Which for some reason sounds worse than Harry Robertson.
Well, Harry Bryan, I'm pretty sure is what I called my friend Brian in elementary school.
Harry Bryan just sounds worse for some reason.
Well, and it thought that she showed it to me as well, and it thought that it had her name mixed up. It called her Brian.
Yeah,
It thought that she was a guy.
Yeah, Mr. Zhao needs to learn mail merge a little bit better.
Or at the very least, how to stalk people on Facebook.
It also had the name of our church. So he hasn't been stalking us personally. He stalked our church and mailed it to the church.
Yes. I wonder why I didn't get one.
Oh, you got one coming because your uncle, Harry Nunley, which sounds even worse than Harry Bryan.
I've been called that too.
He's recently passed. I'm sorry to finding out right here live on air, your uncle has passed in a tragic accident in the UK.
Harry and I were so close.
Is that so that's one of the most, I say elaborate, but that's the more one of the more creative scams I've gotten recently. Have you gotten any creative ones?
No, I have been known to, because I've always said if they would put as much effort into a real job as doing this, they would be successful.
This is a real job. It takes one, dude.
I know. But I don't do this anymore, but I was the one who would keep the scammers on the phone. And talk to them, and I would switch up accents every so often, and I would act dumb, and I remember one time in particular, I almost felt bad. The guy got really, really angry and started cussing me out. I just kept wasting his time. I mean, it was a good 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He was trying to instruct me on how to send cards to him, and I was like, now wait, now what? I just kept having to repeat himself, and finally he got mad, started cussing at me. I was like, yeah, thanks for wasting my time, buddy.
Yeah.
That was it.
There's a guy that on social media that hacks their systems.
Oh yeah,
and gets their camera, gets their names. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I see you on Keat," and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
But you know what? There's public service announcement. There's a susceptible group out there.
There is.
That have a lot of trust in the systems still.
Yes.
And so I read an article recently where a woman believed that she was, I think we actually talked about it on the podcast. She was in a relationship with Brad Pitt or something. For over a year. Yeah. And he was like, "Hey, I'm in Las Vegas filming and I lost my wallet. Could you send me $1,000?
Yeah.
I'll pay you back." And it just ended up sending this guy tens of thousands of dollars of her own savings.
Yeah.
Thinking and it had AI generated photos of Brad Pitt in different places and stuff like that. So
we've helped. There have been some people at our church that we've helped. They fell victim to scams, and we're like, look, here's how you can tell, some of the things that, Yeah. So it's rough. I mean,
I had someone bring a thumb drive with we were trying to do financial counseling after an incident like this.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I'm like, I'm not putting that thumb drive on my computer.
No, don't.
Do you have a laptop? Yeah. Well, you bring the laptop and then you look in there and it's just like Nigerian Prince files and stuff like that mixed with banking information.
Hey, Sermonauts, look. You do not have a long-lost relative in a faraway land
named Harry
that's trying to give you money. It's a scam. Don't believe it.
What if their last name was Funkel, and it was like Harry Funkel?
Your uncle.
Your uncle Harry Funkel.
Your uncle Harry Funkel.
Jamie, it is not a good morning.
It's not.
No, gosh. This morning, my dog started barking. It's a true story. He started barking at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oof.
And staring weirdly into the hallway.
Yeah.
And I cursed at him.
Mm-hmm.
And lost my salvation. Yeah. So this morning, I spent most of the morning trying to get it back.
Dude, just repeat this after me.
Oh, thank God.
We're going to pray to baby Jesus.
Thank you, baby Jesus. Yeah, it's so weird. I lose my salvation like at least twice a day.
Yeah.
Before I was a Christian, I didn't even have it, but now it's like a set of keys. I'm just leaving it around.
I had my salvation last week. I know I had it, but I can't remember where I left it last.
I just had mine polished. I had it polished, spent a lot of money on it, and misplaced it.
Yeah, salvation polishing is a growing trend right now. It's a big business right now. So I guess we're talking about losing your salvation.
Yeah, and it sounded a little shady to me.
A little bit shady? How about we sing the Shady Theology intro?
Me. Sounded minor. Shady Theology. That was good.
Okay.
Sounded minor at first.
I probably was. I am over 18, though.
Yes, you're not a minor.
I'm not.
Anyways, the Shady Theology is a segment where we talk about common teachings, doctrines, faith issues. They may have a little bit of truth in them, but they're also a little bit shady. You just got to be careful. They're the ones that you can have as an appetizer, but not the main course.
Yeah.
I mean, you're out there looking at the cyclone shrimp, and you're saying, "I'll just have that for dinner." But you're only meant to have a little taste of it.
Yeah. Okay.
And today on the docket is the doctrine of once saved, always saved.
Yes.
So, Jamie.
Also known as OSIS.
OSIS, not to be confused with ISIS.
Or Oasis, the British rock band.
Or
the water in the middle of the desert.
Or that little fungus that you get on your pinky toe when you don't bathe.
Oh.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, what is once saved, always saved?
Once saved, always saved is the mostly Southern Baptist version of the Calvinist or Reformed idea that once someone is saved, they cannot be unsaved. In the Calvinist tradition, using the 5 letters TULIP to explain Calvinism, the last one, P, is perseverance of the saints.
Yes.
And perseverance of the saints is the idea that the saints will persevere in their salvation or continue in their salvation because, according to the Calvinists, they never had anything to do with it to begin with.
Yes.
It was all the Lord's decision, his execution, and his sustaining.
You were just a skeleton, a dead, rotting carcass.
I never seen a dead man do nothing.
I ain't never seen a dead man do nothing. And it was God who vivified you, enlivened you to the gospel story.
Right. The idea of regeneration preceding salvation, that the Lord regenerated you so that you could be saved.
So you're saved before you're saved?
Well, you are made available to be saved before you're saved, according to
Can I say no?
No.
Different story.
It is irresistible.
Different doctrine. Different doctrine.
That would be the I in TULIP.
Yeah.
So, but Baptists typically don't believe TULIP. There is a kind of a surging Reformed Baptist thing, like John MacArthur, Voddie Baucham, those guys. Who
Did you just cast a spell on me? Voddie Baucham!
Calvinissimus! Those were both preachers.
Yeah.
And so Baptists typically, though, believe in the T and the P, not toilet paper.
I believe in the T and the P.
I bet you do.
And the B, the bidet.
But they believe in the total depravity of mankind, so we do need salvation. But also, once you are saved, once you pray the prayer, once you're born again, you cannot be unborn again. There is, once you're saved, you
can't be an unborn again.
Always saved. Can't be an unborn again. Are you born again?
Or an unborn again, because you can't be an unborn again.
So anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Have you historically, is this something that you have believed?
No, I've wanted to believe it. I mean, it's a really comforting doctrine. I mean, honestly, especially if you're someone that struggles with this idea of assurance of salvation, which is funny. People, I feel like it was written about a lot more in the earlier, portion of the church around the Reformation. How can I be assured that I'm saved? And, this kind of came from a pastoral concern, like, hey, look, like once you're saved, Jesus says no one can take you out of my hand. They use all these different passages to justify that. But I was actually, raised in the opposite context. Right. So I was in a Pentecostal holiness tradition.
Ooh, Lord.
That was hyper-Arminian.
They were hyper.
So it was more than you could just lose your salvation. It was like you could lose it like really easily. Right. Which is kind of where the concept of the altar call originated.
By the way, can I just throw this in there? Listener, if you've heard us talk about hyper-Calvinist or hyper charismatic. Hyper is not a description of behavior like they're hyper. Hyper means the extreme. I had someone ask me about this once. Hyper is a theological term meaning the extreme end of something. Yeah. It's not describing behavior. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so hyper Arminian, it was really easy to lose.
So Arminian after they've had sugar. Go ahead.
Yes. I didn't get that one. I'm going to have to think about it later.
Because they're hyper.
Oh, okay. I thought you had something to do with Arminian, and I was like, okay. But yeah, you could lose your salvation really easily. And so it instilled sort of this really unsafe, unhealthy fear in a lot of people that you could, that's what I kind of joked around in the beginning about, like, I lost my salvation, where did I put it?
Right.
Because, you always found it back at the altar on Sunday. Yeah. You had it maybe until Monday mid-afternoon.
Or you washed it in your pants, and once your laundry was done, you found it.
Yeah, you find it, and it's all like crummy, so you got to get a new one. And so I studied it, and I'll admit at various times, I was like, man, even if I didn't truly believe it, I wanted to believe it just because of the sort of fear-based salvation method I came from. But as I got balanced and as the medication began to work,
efficacy was reached.
The 6 to 8 week efficacy point. I found that the idea of being once saved, always saved is foreign to the entirety of Scripture.
Yeah.
There is no connection between that doctrine and the Old Testament view of what it meant to be the people of God. To be the people of God meant to not only be chosen by God, but to live a distinguished life.
Yeah, faithfulness.
And you could very much do things to get kicked out of the community. Yeah. And there was no safety outside of the community, but there were also ways for restoration back into the community. But it was only the most egregious things that got you kicked out of the community. It wasn't like, saying a curse word or making a mistake or, anything simple. There was a whole process to it. And so I think the idea of salvation being the people of God from the Old Testament, what that meant, translates into how we should view salvation in the New Testament as being the people of God, no longer defined by circumcision or rituals, but by faith in Jesus. Yeah. And so if faith in Jesus is the badge that I'm saved, as long as I have that faith, even if it be an imperfect one or a fledgling one, I'm still saved. But, as we'll probably talk about, I do believe you can reach a point where you don't lose your salvation, you reject it.
Right.
It's clear in Scripture. Paul accuses Demas of deserting him. John in his epistle says there were people that came with us, but they were not of us. They departed from the faith.
Right.
Jesus says, at the end of days, there's going to be people who think they were doing things for the Lord, but he's going to say, depart from me. I never knew you.
He talks about those in the parable of the sower where the seed is in shallow ground and it springs up immediately, but then it's withered.
And their salvation was obviously real in the beginning, at least,
because it sprung up.
And then there's the wheat and the tares, where they're growing simultaneously together, and you don't want to disturb, the wheat. So, what are your? I'm to what I feel is a biblical balance view of, no, you don't lose your salvation after every little sin, but it is possible through hardness of heart and continuous rejection. To surrender your salvation.
Yeah. So the way, because I'm a pastor and everything has to start with the same letter. As I say, you can't lose your salvation, but you can leave it.
Yeah.
And it's not it's possible, but it's not probable. So this is not something that's, listener, that's happening all the time, every day, multiple times a day. Let me just back up. Let me give you a quick, maybe 3-minute explanation of what I see in Scripture. So first of all, we talk about the messy middle here a lot at our church. And the messy middle is when you hold two seemingly opposite truths in tension with one another, finding that messy middle of biblical truth. Okay. So what are the two truths? Well, here's one. God will never let go of you. That's all throughout Scripture, right? I mean, God is not looking for reasons to get rid of you.
He's faithful. He has hesed.
Yes.
He is
covenant love.
Covenant love. He is forever bound to you.
Yes.
So even
he's not looking for reasons to kick you out.
To kick you out. His faithfulness is for you.
Right.
And that understanding is what took the fear out of maintaining my old salvation. Is that God, I mean, even though we have some say, God really does have way more sovereign say in our relationship with him than we do, but that doesn't mean that we don't have any.
Well, there's the other side, right? There's so we're finding the messy middle. So one side, God is not going to abandon you. His grace is forever. It stands forever, right? We can't undo it. We can't sin our way out of his grace. Okay. However, here's another truth that we see throughout Scripture that we have to hold in tension with that first one, and it's this: is that that you have a free will, and God does not override our free will. For God to override the individual choices of a person is forced love, which is illegal in our justice system, and it doesn't make any sense that once you choose God, boom, you're locked in forever, like it's some sort of timeshare agreement, right? And so
God's love is like a timeshare agreement. You can never escape.
Yes, you'll always be paying on it. And so these two concepts held together, I believe, create the biblical idea of not losing your salvation, but in extreme situations, leaving your salvation. So we also here use what I like to call the salvation equation. Grace plus faith equals salvation plus works.
Squared.
That's cubed. It's cubed. But this comes from Ephesians 2, 8 through 10, where it says, "It's by grace through faith you've been saved, not of works, lest anyone should boast. But we are created for good works." So there are two inputs creating salvation, according to my reading and my understanding. Now, according to the Reformed people, there's one input, and that's grace. That's God. He does everything. But what we see in Ephesians 2 is grace and faith meeting together, bringing about salvation, and then salvation is evidenced by works, but works aren't what you do to get saved, right? So if grace or faith fail in the equation, if they are removed from the equation, then salvation can no longer exist because it takes both of those. Okay. Well, God's grace, and this goes back to the first truth I mentioned, God's grace never fails. He never gives up. He never leaves, right?
His love never fails and never gives up.
It never runs out on me. Everyone sing, your love never fails. Yeah. All right.
That was embarrassing.
That was terrible. It was cringy. So thanks for starting that.
This guy.
Look at me. So that's one side of it, is that God's grace remains.
Yeah.
Right? It remains. It's steadfast, loyal, faithful. Our faith, no. Now, I'm not talking about someone having doubts. I'm not talking about mental certainty of what you believe being true. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about pursuing faith is the pursuance of a relationship with the Lord, imperfectly, right? I mean, the ups and downs, right? All the things that we go through. It's the overall trajectory of your life in relationship with the Lord. If that is severed, no longer can salvation be there. So what does that look like? Well, Hebrews talks about this. Someone who knows the word, has tasted of the Holy Spirit, who knows exactly what they're doing, and they willfully, intentionally, habitually, for the rest of their life, reject the Lord. It says there no longer remains a sacrifice. Not because the sacrifice isn't there, but they've rejected it. Right? And so it's the idea that if grace plus faith equals salvation, grace never fails. God never removes himself from us. But if we remove ourselves from him, salvation. Again, this is not by accident. that you cannot sin your way out of heaven because it wasn't lack of sin that put you in heaven.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to make sure everyone understands. I'm not saying, here, put the camera on me. I'm looking right into the camera. I'm not saying that you can sin your way out of God's presence because your sin has been paid for. What I'm saying is that you can sever the faith relationship intentionally, not accidentally. And in that case, you would be forfeiting or leaving salvation on purpose.
Look, if you take the bone out of a T-bone, all you got's a New York strip.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Thank you. I'm going to, listener, write that down.
And welcome to a new segment called the Megachurch Moment. Are you always wondering what those guys are doing at those megachurches? Well, this is the segment for you. Each week on the Megachurch Moment, we're going to break down all of the stories you care about in the megachurch world. This just in, Jamie. Our man, Joel Osteen was recently on a podcast with a famous YouTuber, Jake Paul. Did you see that?
Did they box?
No, they didn't. I don't know what his deal is with trying to fight everybody, though. He's just always trying to fight people.
I would like to see Jake Paul and Joel Osteen box. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might.
I'd like to see Joel Osteen and Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I think Jake Paul might break his hand on Joel Osteen's chiseled chin. But yeah, the Megachurch Moment is a new segment we're going to be doing. It's a funny thing. It's like every week now, it seems like there's like megachurch news of people doing stuff, you know? And I'm not like for or against megachurches. I just think they get a lot of notoriety. So if they made a news show about what goes on here, I'm sure we'd make it too. So
what is, Eric, a megachurch?
A megachurch is defined as a church with 2,000 or more people.
Okay.
So it's actually, it's less than 1% of churches in the U.S. are considered megachurches. Right. So it seems like there's a lot more than there actually is, but because they ultimately end up on the news and stuff like that for good and bad things.
Yeah.
And they have a lot more cultural influence, social media, because they can pay like a whole team of social media engineers to like push their stuff. And you know what? If we had the money, we'd do it too.
Yeah. 2,000. I'm looking, and so we average between 500 and 600, and so we're looking at 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times the size of our church.
4 times the budget. 4 times the people.
It's not that big, honestly. Like, it's not that much bigger than where we're at. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the difference between that? Obviously scalability and staff, but anyways, people always think of megachurches as the ones with like 10 or 15,000 members.
Yeah.
An average city of like 500,000 or something might have a megachurch in it.
Right.
It's still, they account for less than 1% of overall total. The average church size in the United States is between like 90 and 120.
I think half of all megachurches are in Atlanta and Dallas.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot there.
You can just declare yourself a pastor in Houston and have a megachurch in 90 days.
Yeah, just a few months.
That'd be a good reality show, the 90-day megachurch. Where you just try to build a megachurch in 90 days, starting with a paperclip.
So you want to hear this?
Yeah, so just to catch you guys up, so Joel Osteen doesn't do a lot of interviews.
He doesn't. He's gotten burned. People roasted him over the Larry King one many years ago.
Yeah, I was about to say that, and with the whole not letting people in his facility during the floods, and so he's definitely been roasted a lot in media. He doesn't do a lot of media interviews. Obviously, he's known. What's the name of his church? I don't even know. Was it Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
Man, look up the member. I'll look it up. Here, we'll play the clip. This is him on Jake Paul doing an interview. Go.
All right.
Have you seen Drewski's Megachurch sketch?
Ready?
Well, it's funny, It's a mega church because we're big, but we never really tried to have a big church. We just didn't want to turn people away. I don't think I've ever sat in a Ferrari, and they showed me pictures of me driving Ferraris and fleets of cars.
Wait, so you have no yachts?
I have no yachts.
Wait.
I have no jets. I have no car.
You won't even have one jet.
I don't take a salary from the church. I've been blessed with book sales and other things. My first book sold 10 million copies.
So you pretty much are like mogging the other pastors through peace maxing as opposed to cortisol spiking.
I have no idea what you just said.
Have you seen?
Peace maxing versus cortisol spiking. I don't know what that means either.
Maxing is a new thing. It's like when you want to just go hardcore at something, it's X maxing. It's peace maxing.
So are we podcast maxing right now?
No, we'd be pod maxing.
Oh, pod maxing.
Pod maxing.
Okay, you can't say the whole word.
And we're not maxing.
So we're abbreviation maxing.
Yes, we're not sermon maxing. We're actually doing the opposite. We're not maxing.
Okay, we're not maxing.
So that's an interesting interview because you probably hear him a lot because he's always preaching and he's always like, "This is my Bible. I am who it says
Joel.
I am."
I blink a lot while I talk.
Yeah, and he's accused a lot of not preaching the full gospel.
Yeah.
He doesn't. You look at the comments on that video. He doesn't teach on sin and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I see people say he's not a Christian all the time.
Yeah, and it's interesting because
crazy.
you know what Joel's not in the news for?
Yeah.
Assault, financial impropriety, unfaithfulness to his spouse.
Right.
He just seems to be in the news a lot because he wrote a couple books 20 years ago that sold over 1 million copies.
Yeah.
And got his bag then.
Yeah.
But according to him, does not take a salary from the church. And so my question is people will sit down, especially in the charismatic church, calling you out charismatics. You'll defend a dude who's been accused of multiple affairs and fake prophecies and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you will jump on Joel Osteen for preaching an encouraging word.
Yeah.
It's a guy who really, to our knowledge, hasn't really been publicly accused of any sort of impropriety.
Right. He had the whole hurricane, flooding thing where people were like, "Why didn't you open up your church?" And he was like, "Well, we were flooded too, and we were working with the Red Cross, and they said they didn't need us."
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, but he's once you get that big. Did you look up the? I just looked up.
So they're between 32 and 45,000. 45,000 at max. They say it's probably declined a little bit to a humble 32,000.
Okay. Wow. No, that's still a lot. So what was the question?
This is a megachurch moment.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just talking about it. We're just talking about the megachurches and the people that build them.
Look, I'm not a Joel Osteen defender. Neither am I a Joel Osteen hater. What I am a hater of is when people say Joel Osteen with an L.
Yeah.
They're wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's no L.
Definitely wrong. Here's the thing. I followed this guy, and again, I have to have some bit of respect for him because of just, he seems morally and ethically above reproach,
sure.
At least at this point.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's probably got a nice house. I mean, his claim is...
He's got a massive house.
Yeah.
Huge house.
And if you had to criticize him, you would only have to criticize him on the fact that, do you think as a minister of the gospel, should you own that? But
I personally would not be willing to own something that large. But again, even if I could, I just don't think it's right.
But we don't know how much Joel is giving.
Right.
We don't, and not that if you give a lot, you should be able to own a lot. But you can probably go head to head with him on that.
Right.
But in terms of, he seems to have healthily navigated having a mega church, both personally and publicly. He seems to help a lot of people. I mean, we come across people all the time who will claim that Joel Osteen is their pastor.
Yeah.
People that would never step foot in our church.
Sure.
And again, argument can be made. Is that really real church?
Yeah.
But here's what I'm saying. I've seen people defended for doing a lot more harm. Than Joel Osteen. He seems to be the punching bag when his name gets brought up, and I'm not here for it. I think I would enjoy a conversation with Joel. Now, again, I don't know him personally. You may know something about him I don't. I just don't think he deserves all the hate, man.
I agree. I think so. I just looked up his net worth, and they say it's around 100 million. I think that's the key. I think people don't like the fact that he's rich. Don't like the fact that he's got one of, if not the largest, at one point, the largest church in America. And I think that people just can't process that. There was one story years ago where they found a bunch of money. Someone was stealing money from
the church,
and they were putting it in the walls of the church. And it was
an inside job.
Yeah, it was some really large amount of money, and people just balked.
It's like $200 and something thousand. And
they were like, "What is the church doing with that much money?" But listener.
Yeah, we did the math that day.
Yeah, and we may have talked about this before on the podcast, but you can know how much a church's budget is. Each person in average attendance equals anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 a year. The average being $2,500. So if there's a church of 100, then you can know that they're going to have around $250,000 is their annual budget.
It was $600,000.
Okay, and so I think I think why people don't like Joel is the money. Honestly, I think that's the biggest issue, because here's the deal. I know there are some theological issues people brought up. He doesn't preach the whole gospel, or he preaches prosperity gospel. He definitely skews towards health and wealth and towards more of a positive TED talk than a preaching of the full gospel. That's true. I think that's an accurate and fair accusation that people bring against him. At the same time, people who say stuff about him have never listened to him, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not a fan. I don't listen to him on a regular basis, but I have heard a few sermons. They're not bad. It's not like people say, well, he doesn't use the Bible. That's not true at all.
This is my Bible.
The times I've heard him speak, there was scripture all throughout.
Yeah.
And so when I've had people say, he's a heretic, I'm saying, okay, cool. Will you give me an example of when he said something heretical, and they never do. And they reference his money.
And I've heard, and these are people chiming in on the comments on these videos,
Sure.
And people writing blog posts, but people that attend the church say, yeah, his sermons that get televised and stuff like that,
fluff.
It is fluff. But like the small groups and our, their community pastors and stuff, like we talk about sin and compromise and stuff like that. And again, I'm not saying like his way is the way to do it. I mean, I personally wouldn't run a church like that, but I just think it's interesting. That was a cool interview, because again, he does, and plus to be on Jake Paul.
But you've got pastors who are caught red-handed in the act of adultery.
Yeah.
And then you have people defending them.
Yeah.
And then trashing Joel.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Here's the question, though. So Joel's getting on up there in age. I mean, you couldn't tell by his perfectly Botox face.
Yeah.
Which, whoever his guy is great, because he looks great. That's not a knock on Joel. I mean, he's got way more swag than I do.
Well, let's see how old he is.
But who takes over Lakewood?
I don't know.
Oh,
he's 63.
63. So
my gosh,
he's got another seven years or so, especially at his pace.
Yeah, no, good job, Botox guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Joel, if you're listening, I think your face looks great.
Yeah.
Anyways,
gonna pay you for that?
yeah, maybe he does. Maybe I have to pay him. Maybe that's how it works. Maybe we have to pay him when we mention his name, and that's how he makes his residuals.
Well, when people ask me, Eric, they'll say, what do you think about Joel Osteen? They'll ask me that. My answer is, I don't.
I don't think
about Joel Osteen.
You don't live in my brain rent free.
And I'll say this, to me, Joel Osteen is dessert. When it comes to the balanced meal, he is dessert. He's not meat and potatoes.
So he's looking like a snack, you say?
No. I'm just saying, like it's not the meat, right? It's stuff that people want to hear. I like dessert.
Yeah.
But if all you eat is dessert, then you're not going to be healthy. And so I'm not mad at him, but I do not think that he provides at least on Sunday mornings only, a complete, nutritious spiritual meal. And so I'm not mad at him. I'm also not like a defender and going to go, and say, hey, I'm Team Osteen.
Hey,
Osteen.
I'm Team Osteen.
Oh,
I'll say I'm coming out live now. Team Osteen until he does something wrong.
Okay. Gotcha.
Speaking of Houston, great segue.
That's a great segue.
You guys didn't even know that it was like 6 minutes in between.
Yeah.
I remembered it.
You did. Good job.
Speaking of Houston, it is time for a little bit of Houston.
Houston, we have a question.
Houston, we have a question, which is a listener-led segment where we take questions sent to our emails and answer them on the podcast. And so, if you ever have a question about anything, faith, life, culture, theology, want us to answer it live on the air, or live for us, you can send it to us at notthesermon@gmail.com.
And let's go ahead and answer one question that people want to know so they don't have to email this one. What's your favorite color?
Green.
Yep. Okay, like light green.
I like a nice
lime,
dark forest
hunter
green.
Forest.
Forest
Okay,
green,
all right.
I like to be one with
Sage green.
Earthing. I like to earth.
Okay.
Yeah, I walk around with sand in my shoes.
Mine would be royal blue.
Royal blue.
Sent by Royal Mail.
Nice. So the question comes to us from a listener named Brittany, and she has a couple-parter. We're going to do two.
No, this is not the same Brittany as last week.
Yeah, different Brittany.
We know this Brittany.
Yeah, a couple-parter, but we're going to do a couple of them. So she says, will we remember our time on Earth when we get into heaven? Will that hurt and sorrow? Will we experience hurt and sorrow that we feel here? Will we feel, will we feel like emotional pain and stuff like that in heaven? Like, will we miss things? Stuff like that. I guess this is, do we yearn for our spouse and our children while we're there? So she's basically, what's the nature? Will we pine for our children? What's the nature of
I don't even pine for my children now.
When it comes to, our memories and sorrow and hurt and pain and stuff like that? Will we experience those kind of things, regret, while we're in the year after?
The year after?
Year after.
It's a good question. There's spotty text in the scripture that addresses this. There are a few things that we can, there's in Matthew, Jesus is asked a funny situation about a woman whose husbands keep dying. They're all brothers, and who's she going to end up with?
Great setup for a joke.
Right, it is. It sounds like a good jokey joke. And Jesus kind of gets mad at him. He's like, you don't know the scriptures or the grace of God. The idea is that people won't be given in marriage. It doesn't say there won't be relationships with people you were married with. It just says you won't be given in marriage. So the ideas like male and female, gender, things like that will cease to exist because those were part of our human experience.
You're telling me there won't be gender ideology in heaven?
That's right.
Come back, Jesus.
Yep.
I'm just kidding.
And so, and then, like, will we feel pain? Will we, yearn for people that we're missing? Jesus says he'll wipe away all tears in heaven. And so the idea, I do not believe we lose memory of earth. That makes zero sense.
Yeah.
You are resurrected. You are not completely new, like a new life altogether. Like who you are is a resurrected form. And so it would make sense that you continue to have your own thoughts, and your own memories of the past. However, the pain associated with them will be no more. And then she said, will we remember our time here on earth? Well, sweetheart, you're actually going to end up on earth. That is where we are headed. Is
Come
the
on,
new heaven.
Come on, NT.
The new heaven and new earth. And so, and it won't be like your memories wiped clean and a brand new experience. We're going to get to see the redemption, reconstruction, and reconciliation of this earth with the Lord. It's going to be glorious and awesome. Yes, we will remember, but there won't be pain and sorrow associated with those memories because we will be in the presence of the Lord.
Yeah, I think what happens is, the biblical authors are trying to describe something that's indescribable because it hasn't been experienced. I mean, Paul even talks about, like, I had a vision, or someone had a vision. Maybe it was me, of the third heaven. I don't know if it was in person or if it was a dream. Right? He's trying to describe this sort of like crazy supernatural experience, and he can't quite, and he kind of gives up on it. It's kind of funny.
Like, I don't know if I was in the body or not. He says like 3 times.
Yeah, he kind of gives up on it too, because all we have are analogies.
Yeah.
To how do you compare something that haven't quite experienced, but is going to surpass any sort of earthly experience. And so the Bible uses a lot of analogy and metaphor when talking about the afterlife. And it's funny, Jesus, like the Sadducees come to him and they're, trying to give him like a literal, like, this is the result of your doctrine of resurrection.
Right.
And Jesus, like, you guys are looking at it literally.
Right.
And Jesus kind of doesn't like make it all metaphor and analogies, but he describes to them this state that you can't quite understand this side of heaven. And so what I think happens is people have this ethereal, floaty view of heaven, like we're all just going to be like disembodied souls floating around.
Right.
But I think earth, how you experience life here on earth is how you're going to experience life up there.
Yeah.
I think you're still going to have memories. I don't even think pain necessarily goes away because you lose capacity for pain. Mm-hmm. I think pain goes away because you gain deeper understanding. In the same way that pain dissipates here on earth, it comes through this long process of understanding that the purpose and stuff like that. Paul even says the suffering here on earth is nothing compared to the eternal glory that we're going to experience. So, I think it's not going to be a diminished capacity for pain, but I think it's going to be increased capacity for understanding.
Right. Well, and remember, heaven is a reward.
Yeah.
It's like
a reward.
And so if you're worried if there's going to be anything negative, there's not, because it's a reward. Like, so anything that you're concerned about back here on earth will be there in heaven, or even in its better form in heaven. Or you won't, like, for instance, I really love ice cream. Will there be ice cream in heaven? Well, probably not, but I won't care because I don't interact with food in heaven in the same way I do now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this is why Christians, we can trust the Lord because he's good, he's faithful, and where we're headed in his presence is the ultimate reward in him. And so you don't have to fear it, even though it's unknown, and we sometimes fear the unknown. You don't have to fear it because God's good, and this is the reward he has for his children. And it's just going to be all good. Even though we can't tell you every detail, you can trust that it's going to be exactly what you need.
All right, 1 minute or less answer for question 2.
Okay.
Do you think we will get one-on-one time with God and go?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's it.
I mean, I don't have any explanation as to how, when, or where.
I get what she's saying. She's asking, like, will there be a time? I know there's going to be billions of people in heaven, but will there be a time?
Well, there is eternity.
Well, let me tell you, Brittany, you can have one-on-one time with God right now in your prayer closet.
So it's not going to be a downgrade.
Yeah.
So if we can have one-on-one time with the Holy Spirit, then yeah, sure. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of way where we can have one-on-one time with the Lord.
So great question, Brittany. Again, if you have questions that you want answered on the podcast, send them to notthesermon@gmail.com.
Boy, howdy, Eric. Do I feel refreshed and excited for a brand new day in the Lord?
Yes, you're feeling way better than I am about it.
This podcast has really got the old juices flowing.
It's ointment for the soul.
Ah, yeah, it is. It's itching powder for the spirit.
Salve for your silly bone.
Toothpaste for your brain.
That's all I got. We're going to end this segment or end the podcast with just a listener email. This comes from Amanda.
I'm loving these, by the way. Y'all are doing a great job of sending us your gross out restaurant stories. We've had several.
We're going on for weeks now.
I'm enjoying this. Yeah.
Keep them going.
They're terrifying, but
all right. So Amanda says, she said she was at Publix, which if you don't know Publix is like...
It's a grocery store.
It's a grocery store in the southeastern United States, known for its quality of service and atmosphere.
And prices.
Prices are high.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Not quality of prices. So she says, I was at Publix, and these are gross food stories, by the way. I was at Publix ordering a sub for my husband and I. A very friendly older gentleman making the subs placed multiple papers down to wrap the subs in, and he made my husband's sub first. As he was wrapping it, I watched saliva drip from his mouth onto the next sub wrapper.
That's
so
gross.
She's mortified right now because not only they have some of the best subs in the world, you got to wait an hour for them. So she's committed to it. And this is what she does after she sees the saliva drip on what will be her paper. Before he started my sub, I asked if he could get new paper because there was tomato juice on that one. It's all I could come up with. And my husband, who didn't know what happened, began making fun of me, not quietly, for having an issue with tomato juice on a sub that has tomatoes on it.
She's trying to save him.
Yeah.
And he's roasting her because he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, she said the joke was she gets her sub with tomatoes on it anyway,
right.
But her excuse was that has tomato juice on it. Can I get another one? And she says, I waited until after we left the store to tell him what really happened.
Oh, wow.
So she really, that was a very creative way to get out of that.
Yeah.
You know, because again, I understand wanting to tough through it for a pub sub.
Yeah.
Because they're amazing.
A pub sub.
That's
like a pup cup.
But yeah, no, thank you for that, Amanda. And thank you for finding a creative way out of the situation.
I struggled yesterday. You missed our pastor's lunch, but we went to a place that makes their food in front of you.
Yeah.
And the guy making it had a runny nose.
Oh.
Now, it was one of those things where he didn't wipe his nose with his hands, but you could just see a little glisten on the philtrum.
Yeah, on the philtrum?
The philtrum. Yeah, that's the little ridge.
Oh, is that what that's called?
Above your upper lip.
I
think so. I gotta look it up.
And thank you for listening to
No, I need to know.
Not the Sermon.
It's right. I was right.
Thanks for listening. This podcast is a production of Victory Fellowship Church in Thomasville, Georgia. Eric and Jamie can be reached at emailing notthesermon@gmail.com.
Father to the fatherless, defender of the little kids, gracious and compassionate, wasn't it?